because I knew we needed to address a lot of these life challenges that we're all dealing with during the pandemic. I knew it was the right time for this week's guest. She is professional life coach Diane Merriam, who I've had the pleasure of working with for many years. She helped me a great deal in my own life. So if we can focus this episode on the juggling aspect and the wearing of multiple hats and the working parents who suddenly were stuck at home with the whole family and also having to teach their children. What are some struggles that have been associated with that unique situation of this very strange year?
Overwhelmed, stressed, just taken beyond the point of being able to carry that load. Just the stress and the adrenaline of what is happening with this coronavirus, the uncertainty of the future, is just making it very, very difficult to not even juggle. But for what I'm hearing, people are having a really hard time making short-term plans and long-term plans because you really can't count on anything. Information changes. You're always pivoting. You're always changing.
So, advice for people in coping with this overwhelm or for dealing with this uncertainty?
Yeah. Number one, first know where you are. And what I mean by that is really verbalize and articulate how you're feeling. So often people are just putting their head down and they're taking the next step, just doing what they need to do. And I think that once you stop and take stock of how you're feeling and how it's impacting you and really kind of be able to sit with that, acknowledge it, then you're able to take the next step. So that might sound really simple, but it really is a huge, huge beginning because you have to know where you're starting to know where you're wanting to go. So that's number one, for people to be able to articulate in any way that they can. Maybe it's through journaling, maybe it's through prayer, maybe it's through talking to a friend or a coach or a therapist. Maybe it's through dancing and singing. Whatever way you can acknowledge how this is impacting you, how you're feeling about it. I think that that's really important. It really can allow you to make a shift into, okay, this is how I'm feeling. What would make it a little better? And sometimes just that tiny little step of what will make it better can change everything. And sometimes it's the simplest little things like, you know what? I'm going to get up a half an hour earlier and I'm going to work out. Or I'm gonna make sure that the kids get up at a certain time and we're gonna follow a little bit of a schedule. Or I'm gonna make sure that tonight that my husband and I spend a little bit of time together. Tiny, tiny things can make a huge difference, especially at a time like this.
Could you share a few words on boundary setting?
Sure. This pandemic has really kind of put the whole boundary setting right in our faces. And what I mean by that is the social distancing has magically had you separate from family and friends. And in doing so, what I've been hearing from a lot of people is that, hey, this feels okay having this distance from family, having this distance from friends. So again, what is a boundary? A boundary is letting someone know what you will and you will not tolerate. So that can be even when you're working at home, but it also extends outside of the home too. So this pandemic really has had people know what they're saying yes to and what they're saying no to in their life in a big way.
And what's the benefit of that, of trimming down the things we're saying yes to and being clearer on what we want to say no to?
Think about it. Think about if you are clear about what's important to you. It brings relief. It brings you into a different kind of emotional state. It's imperative right now, imperative.
Getting some good, helpful information from Diane Merriam, who is a professional life coach, our guest all this week on the Help and Healing Hangout. Thanks, Diane.
Thanks, Lisa.